at IIT Hyderabad. So it's very difficult to speak after such a good speaker, but I'll do it anyway. So I'll be focusing on undergraduate education and research at CSCA department at IIT Hyderabad. So this talk essentially I've gotten inputs from a lot of my colleagues, and I would like to acknowledge them. I'll quickly give you a brief overview of the CSC department at IIT Hyderabad. It's just for advertisement propaganda. 8 permanent faculty members, 1 quasi-permanent faculty member from Japan, Kotaro-san, and we have expertise in theoretical computer science, computer networks, operating systems, soft computing, etc. Among just this 19. And we have a lot of adjunct for faculty members. We have state-of-the-art laboratories. I will not go into it. So this is the outline of the talk. So to set the setting, to set the context, I'll just discuss whether all is well with computer science education in India, especially undergraduate computer science education. Are there any problem areas? And then we look at examples of how some courses are dealt with in the in Indian opinion. I'm not so there is exceptions, but in general how, and what improvements can be made in order to make the situation better. And then finally, I'll discuss something about research at undergraduate level, with special reference to what's being done at IIT. Alright. So is all that well with CS education in India? The answer is not really. I think the font is a little low, this font. It's not really, because, and the symptoms are that there is a lot of unemployment. Right? And more importantly, there is a lack of employability. Unemployment essentially is that when you have a lot of talented pool of people and there's not enough jobs out there. Partly that is also there, but more importantly, you have a lot of engineers, a lot of computer science graduates, undergraduates, who are not really employable by the industry and of course the academics. Whatever jobs are there, they're in the peripheral aspects of computer science and information technology. And not many world-class products that come out of India. Most of the things that you see here, out here, including software and hardware, are essentially from abroad. And not many quality research scholars. Not many. There are. I'm not saying that it's. And therefore, you don't find a lot of cutting-edge R&D on Indian soil. You have very good Indian computer scientists who go abroad, are trained further there and do well there, and so on. But not a lot of cutting-edge R&D happens on Indian soil. But these are general observations. Clearly, there are several wonderful exceptions, but these are general comments and general observations. Okay. So we have decent curriculum. If you look at the course material, the courses of study of different universities for computer science, you see that curriculum is actually quite good. It's almost at par with other universities abroad, for example. But the problem is that there is imperfection in teaching and evaluation methodologies, right? And that's what kind of makes us a little bit behind the other place. And we are not where we would like to have been. It encourages rote learning, exam-oriented, career-oriented, career-oriented course, because essentially career not in a good sense. You just want to go out there, get a job, buy an apartment, go into the EMI loan. Okay? And students know a lot, but don't understand much. Right? That has been our observation from the various interviews that we conduct for different positions, PhD positions, even master's positions. And therefore they cannot apply what they know. This leads to disenchantment, what's there in it, it's not fun at all. Okay? And academic and personal dishonesty. You just want to get out of this whole system, get a degree, get out, start learning, and so on. The fun of actually learning something goes out in this process. And so therefore you get things like copying assignments, cheating, etc. They'll finally crack the exams. They'll get decent percentages, CGPAs, and so on. but that's not enough. And finally, you end up in a career in an IT sweatshop or an investment banking. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Those who knows science very fast. Alright, so what is the solution? The emphasis, I mean, this has been again repeated again and again in the previous talks. I'll anyway do it again. The emphasis should be on understanding the application, continuous evaluation rather than just a couple of exams. And very serious emphasis on labs and assignments, because that's where they actually apply what they have learned, right? And they try out things and so on. Formulate assignments and exams carefully. It takes time. Coming up with a question of your own, of the exact required level, coming up with an assignment which takes the exact, kind of fits the time frame for which you have given the assignment. It's tough. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's worth it. That's where people learn the most, right? And formulate lab assignments carefully so that the real learning and application happens, and encourage discussion and interaction, but very seriously discourage copying and malpractices. This is important, right? While it's important, we have been emphasizing in our department. So intellectual discourse is always good. Discussions is always good. What's very seriously frowned upon is copying and malpractices, and that essentially helps in each student, learning on his own and developing his own body of knowledge and understanding. Okay, so I'll just take a few examples. So these are certainly not general. I mean, I'm not saying that everywhere it's done like this. It's kind of symptomatic of what is happening here. Okay, it's representative of what's happening in India. Let's look at how computer networks are usually taught. We follow a standard textbook, Tannenbaum or Douglas Comer, and you never go beyond that textbook. Just read it from first page to the last page, or whatever the syllabus is, and then you ask your own questions in exams. These are actual questions that I picked up from the internet. What is the home to infinity problem? Discuss the main features of the Ethernet IEEE 802.3 frame, the main active project to solve the problem. They're valid questions, correct? But then they don't really increase the insight and understanding of the student in any real sense. So, in the lab, we do some basic software programming, and that's it. We are done with it. This can and has indeed produced a large army of mediocre network engineers. But that's not what really we want. I mean, we are talking about serious education, technical education here. We want world leaders in these areas to come up. And it's useful, of course, certain degree people get jobs and people settle down and all that. But that's not our goal, right? Essentially, if we are to go beyond that. And what is a better approach? This is a suggestion, and some of this is actually practiced by our colleagues in IIT Hyderabad. You follow textbook by all means, but go beyond the textbook. That's important, right? Cover classic papers and encourage students to read and understand those papers so that they can get into the minds of the leaders in this area. Progressive and continuous evaluation, the aim being to test the understanding and insight of the student and not just go to learning. Course projects like, develop your own, because these are actually being done by Kotaro-san and my colleagues here. You develop your own routers, access points, even LAN cables, right? Build a there are examples of what kind of assignments are given. Build a multi-thread web server using sockets, hands-on assignments across thousands of computers on planet lab, use open source simulation tools, network tools like NS2 and NS3. Right? The idea is to get their hands really dirty on networks, right? And the real learning happens there. It doesn't really happen in the classroom. It happens to some extent, but the majority of the learning happens when they actually do it. And implementation and hands-on tinkering with systems provides much more insight than just going through Tannenbaum or Douglas Comer. And since this is another theme in the conclave, information security, I'm particularly looking at cryptology in particular, how it's taught. Usually, you follow a standard textbook, the standard curriculum is publicly and private key cryptography, and some little bit of network security. And then you have asked questions like explain RSA, compare and contrast public key and private key cryptography. Right? People answer this, some people don't answer it correctly, I don't blame them actually. Some people answer this correctly and then they get very good grades, CGPA and so on, but that's about it. This is not very useful because the need of the hour is expertise in designing and building secure systems. We want real experts who do the job. To start by providing a strong foundation of the required mathematics, algebra, number theory, probability theory, information theory, algorithms, communication problem, complexity, etc. And then the distance systems knowledge, because there's so many other things like side channel attacks and so on, and in general, things like networking, and so on. So you need to have recent systems knowledge as well, and only then can a meaningful cryptology course can be taught. Okay, and information security curriculum should involve, in particular cryptology, curriculum should involve a major component of cryptanalysis techniques, because only when you try to break the system will you understand it properly. And of course, then you have to also design ciphers and crypto systems, because you cannot build good ones unless you have a very good basics in the and do a lot of implementation. Essentially, all this cryptanalysis, the attacks on these cipher systems, etc., needs a fair bit of programming and so on. Just having a textbook knowledge doesn't really help. You really have to go through the details of how to do it. Okay, and use high-end hardware, etc. So at CSE, we encourage undergraduate research at IIT Hyderabad. And the reason is that the UHS students are typically energetic and largely moldable. They're not really yet that cynical about how things have to work. So therefore, it's important to catch them young and involve them in live research projects, not just dummy research projects. The research apprenticeship, we have started this program of having a research apprenticeship as early as the second year of undergraduation. They learn the ropes of doing research, how what goes into doing research, what it takes to say that I'm doing research. By affiliating with research groups that are already present in the department, in a couple of years, hopefully they become mature researchers. And to keep it optional, don't force it on everybody. Give them appropriate credit in terms of CQ grades and so on, in terms of credit points and so on. Okay, and so I'll just quickly run through some examples of these what I've just mentioned. So there is this information network for natural disaster mitigation recovery. It's a project, Indo-Japan project, and these are examples of projects in which the CS department is involved, cybersecurity systems, and so on. And usually students actually get exposure and comfort with the state-of-art machines, servers, software, hardware, and so on. They actually contribute to this research effort. They're an integral part of this research effort, and that changes their outlook towards research like nothing else. And you learn to apply, so they learn to apply what they have learned to real life research problems, understand there's often a significant difference between sanitized textbook exercises and exam problems and real life problems. Real life problems are essentially qualitatively and quantitatively different from these kinds. So and learn the culture and philosophy of what Professor Narayan was saying, culture and philosophy of communicating their work to the scientific community by writing good quality papers. And basically, I'll summarize by these gems. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. This is by Confucius, the Chinese philosopher. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. Okay? And finally, this is by the master himself, Richard Feynman, who says that this was scribbled on his last blackboard in his room. This is at the end of his career, and he says this: what I cannot create, I do not understand. So I think this is the lesson that has to be put forth to the students. That's it.